Uber and Lyft drivers call for federal intervention in their gig worker labor fight. I hope this works. We shall see. It's been more than a year since San Francisco Uber driver Lucas Chamberlain was knocked unconscious by a would-be customer who attacked him during an argument over whether or not the patron was old enough to ride solo. I woke up with blood coming down under my eye. I was like, why are these rocks in my mouth? It was my broken teeth. The March 15th, 2020 attack temporarily put Chamberlain in the hospital, which only made his problems worse. He says he is one of many Uber drivers who do not receive healthcare benefits from the company, even though they spend more than 40 hours a week driving for Uber. Rideshare drivers from the organization We Drive Progress and Delivery Couriers with the Mobile Workers Alliance publicly stated their NLRB grievances during a Tuesday afternoon Zoom press conference. The groups say their total membership includes about 24,000 gig workers. Representatives from both groups said they want the NLRB to reconsider ruling on a gig worker complaint filed after the November passage of Proposition 22, a California ballot initiative that allowed gig companies like Uber to classify their drivers and couriers as independent contractors rather than employees. Prop 22 created an exception to California's AB 5, a law passed in 2019 that granted gig workers all the rights and privileges associated with full-time employee status, including paid time off, paid sick leave, mandatory health care benefits for individuals working 40 hours plus 40 hours a week, and the right to collectively bargain. Uber and the other gig companies fought hard against that. In May, a Benson Strategy Group survey showed 82% of Uber drivers are still happy with Prop 22. Really? Who paid for that study? The same survey found 51% of drivers remained very happy with the ballot measure. Wow, paid by Uber probably, right? What California has shown is that the issue of independent work doesn't follow the ideological lines, Uber said. Some political leaders are out of touch with what drivers and voters actually support. But the aggrieved drivers say Uber and Lyft and other gig companies haven't kept the promises they made to voters when they campaigned for Prop 22. Those things that drivers rely on to ensure a good pay and livable wage, they're keeping that from us. The drivers said the gig company's list of compromises included providing a healthcare stipend to qualifying drivers and couriers who don't already have medical coverage provided by the government or another employer. Tulchin research determined in April that roughly 86% of surveyed California gig workers are ineligible for the healthcare stipend. Uber also added a fare multiplier feature to its app during Prop 22 campaign. After drivers complained about reduced fare prices cutting into their profits, Uber told drivers the fare multiplier would give them greater control as independent contractors by allowing them to set their own prices for trips as a multiple of time and distance rates, but the company abandoned that feature after customers pushed back earlier this year. Over the last few months, 80% of riders matched with a driver with a fare multiplier above 1x declined the higher fare and did not request a ride on Uber, the company said. Chamberlain said the broken promises cemented his view that being a gig employer is better than remaining independent. It was an employee. If I was an employee, I would have workers' comp insurance, he said. Because I don't have that, I'm stuck with broken teeth and I didn't get paid for time off. An NLRB spokesman noted that under the Trump administration, the board previously determined that it doesn't have jurisdiction over the gig workers because they are considered independent contractors and not employees. But that could change once a new complaint is filed under President Joe Biden's NLRB. Ken Jacobs, chair of the UC Berkeley Labor Center at Institute for Research on Labor Employment, says it's fairly likely Biden's NLRB will eventually weigh in on the gig workers' battle with companies like Uber. It's hard to read where they'd come down, but I could not be surprised if they reversed it. Celine McNichols, Director of Government Affairs and Labor Council at the Economic Policy Institute says the Trump-era NLRB ruling effectively denied Uber drivers and other gig workers the collective bargaining rights granted by the National Labor Relations Act. We hope the NLRB will correct this error and ensure that these workers have the right to a union, she said. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to give Legal Rideshare a shout out. Check them out. If you do get into an accident, God forbid, I hope it never happens, immediately call these guys. They cover all 50 states. They're phenomenal. They really are. And they'll put money in your pocket, right? Hook up with the experts and make sure they take good care of you. Have a great day, everyone. And please comment on the video, especially if you are a California driver. Be safe.